Hi, everybody. My name's Rita Zagar, and if you don't know who I am, you clearly were not paying attention to that video. I am Rita's son. You know, my mom, my mom loved life so much that she really failed to prepare for today. She just never really wanted to think about it. And she failed to prepare so much that if she didn't even tell us how she wanted her body to be laid to rest. So, pretty sure if she had it her way, we'd have a literal skeleton in our closet right now. But my mom did have two things that she wanted. One, she wanted M&Ms with her face printed on them. And if you look under your chairs, you'll get them after the show. And number two, my mom wanted me to perform stand-up comedy as a eulogy. So, as she called it, dinner and a show. And, my mom, what? You think I prepared for this? Where are we? Oh, yeah. Sorry. My mom, whenever my mom wants, my mom gets. Because how do you say no to someone who would casually be like, Eric, brush your teeth or I'm going to haunt you so hard? Because now she can do it, man. Ugh. Well, it means so much to see all these beautiful faces in the audience. To the people in this room, I just want to give a very sincere thank you. And to the people watching over the live stream, thank you as well. Make sure to comment in that guest book. But seriously, to all the friends and family here, just thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And to the people I don't know, I just want to say the Jones family funeral is at 1. You're more than welcome to stay for the show, but we do have a 2-drink minimum. But I love that everyone here, in whatever capacity that may be, has a piece of who Rita Zagar was, who has their own stories about her, from her family, who knew her as a wonderful, loving aunt, cousin, sister, a beautiful wife of 31 years, and the incredible mother to 2 fantastic children, who I very much look forward to meeting someday. And I love that the friends who knew her for her gigantic personality, which not only could fill this entire room, but is probably seeping into other graves as we speak. And for the business associates who knew her as someone who always gave 110% and was always a consummate professional, despite everything I'm going to say here today. I love that everyone here has a story and has a piece of who Rita is. And even if you're here as a +1 on the most awkward blind date ever, you'll still understand who Rita is through the stories we tell. And as much as I want to hear other people's stories, I'm the one with the microphone right now, so you're going to listen to me. My mom, what can I say about my mom? A lot, but since there's small children in the audience, we're going to condense the set considerably. My mom was the ultimate social butterfly. I mean, she could make friends with anybody. You could leave a room for a second or just glance down at your phone, and suddenly mom would be like, hey, Eric, I want you to meet my new best friend, Donna. She loves the color periwinkle. She's an avid hiking enthusiast. Her favorite food is French toast, and we're getting lunch together on Sunday. And I'd be like, Mom, this is a McDonald's drive-thru. Because my mom can make friends with anybody. And when she was working as an event planner, she would often be the person who was in charge of all the volunteers. Because she would be like, ooh, either 200 new best friends for life or 200 people to gossip about? I'm interested. Because my mom never backed down from any new experience, whether that be wearing a boa around her neck, the snake, not the feather one, though she would do both, to riding in a race car, to just trying the new marshmallow bakery down the street. She would do everything and anything for the same reason. Because why the heck not? And let me tell you, my mom lived quite a life, doing the good and the bad. I love my father so much. He's definitely my favorite parent who's still alive. But it's been hard to live up to him. because he's basically lived a pure life, and it's very hard to measure up to a man whose only vice is drinking a 12-pack of Diet Dr. Pepper a day. But my mom was the, how do we put this? Real parent? She was the parent that when her high school friends found out about me, was like, oh, she's a mom now? Good luck to that kid. I hope they turn out okay. I didn't, but I turned out fun. Because mom was the fun parent. Mom you could go to with any dumb mistake you made, and not only could she relate, but nothing ever seemed to shake her. I mean, I could be like, Mom, I stole a jet plane. And she'd be like, yeah, first time? And I'd be like, what? And she's like, well, back in the 80s, Captain Morgan and I used to commandeer a couple vehicles. I'm just like, ugh. And, you know, it's been hard trying to keep up with her. Earlier this year, my mom, who was mostly bedridden by this point, turned to me and said, hey, Eric, you need to get more skeletons in your closet. I don't think she meant her own, but it's hard to tell. And my mom, if anyone knows anything about my mom or has been paying any attention to the decoration around here, you know that my mom was a Disney maniac. In fact, she actually interviewed to work there back in the 80s, but the interviewer said she wasn't perky enough to work there. Wasn't perky enough to work. Anyone who's ever had the chance to go to Disneyland with Rita Zagar knows that she is as perky as a 5-year-old who just snorted an entire pixie stick and was unleashed on the world. Although my mom did take Disneyland very seriously. She used to line us up at the crack of dawn and go, cadets, Disneyland is not a vacation, it is a mission. Once we break through those gates, we are on a warpath to conquer all enemy land. I am talking about fantasy, tomorrow, adventure, even critter country. And you will come equipped with 1 military ration of a churro, and I will not hesitate to leave you behind. And we would just go, sir, yes, sir. And actually, the week that my mom ended up passing, my sister Lauren and a couple friends of ours were in Disneyland. And realistically, there's no way we could have known, but looking back, we should have been slightly suspicious when we saw that the Haunted Mansion was closed for renovations to make room for a new tenant. Because my mom loved holidays. I mean, I'm pretty sure she chose to pass in early September because that's when she starts celebrating Halloween, and she wanted to go trick-or-treating as a ghost this year. And not only was she an avid Halloween fan, but she loved Christmas. She was like one giant kid and was Santa's #1 fan, to the point where he threatened to put her on the naughty list for having too much holiday spirit. And of course, I would be absolutely remiss if I mentioned Christmas and Rita Zagar in the same sentence without mentioning cookies. Who here has had a Rita cookie? Show me your hand. Whoa, that's basically everybody. That's even some people here for the Jones family funeral. All right. Well, that's because Mom loved to bake. And let me tell you those 3 little words that everyone wants to hear, and it's the only reason they came here to hear today. Cookies will continue. Because Mom told us and taught us how to bake up a storm. And personally, to the point where I'm now a baker with no self-control, and I have the rolls to prove it. Because my mom knew that Christmas was the time to show that you cared. And the way she did that was through baking. And the woman baked so much that every year we had to buy one of those 25-pound bags of sugar, which Mom basically raised as a 3rd child. And she would bake cookies for everyone. We're talking friends, family, neighbors, doctors, lawyers, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, even Donna from McDonald's. She would bake for everyone, because that's how she showed that her love. Which I think it's only fitting that her ashes are laid to rest in basically one big cookie jar. Because that was Mom. And Mom was incredibly scrappy. I, of course, mean scrapbooky by that. Mom loved to scrapbook. She would put books together for every occasion. Birthdays, weddings, family vacations, medical emergencies, even her own celebration of life, which somehow already had pictures in it. And that woman not only scrapped pictures, but she would scrap anything and everything. Going through her books, you were just as likely to find a fork that Donny Osmond supposedly ate salad off of one time, or a piece of toilet paper from our first trip to Wet and Wild, as you were to find a lost Shakespearean work or even the Holy Grail. Because that woman had hundreds of books, and if a fire accidentally went off in her room, we'd lose more books there than the Library of Alexandria. And I could go on about my mom. My mom was awesome. My mom was silly, but more than anything, my mom was the strongest person I've ever known. She was the total epitome of a mama bear. She loved her friends, and she loved her family, to the point where she was willing to break out into all-out tactical warfare for them. And nowhere was this more clear than when I was a kid. When I would come home from school, and if I had any hint of gloom in my eye, my mom would be like, "Eric, what's wrong? Do I need to go down there? Do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to fight someone? Do you want me to set fire to the school? I can make it look like an accident." You say the word, Eric, I'll make it look like an accident. And I would just go, "No, Mom, I'm sure Andy will return my red crayon tomorrow." I mean, if you've never seen a 5'5", 150-pound bespectacled Irish woman with death in her eyes step foot into a ring, then you've clearly never been to one of my parent-teacher conferences. I'm kidding, of course. My teachers would pass me with C's no matter what I did, so they didn't have to put up with her. And honestly, I get it. And as probably a lot of people here know, my mom was sick a lot, with some random ache or pain or organ that needed to be removed. And she, if you ever asked her how she was doing today, and she said perfectly fine, you knew you were standing on a landmine, and any little move would set it off. But whatever life threw at my mother, she always somehow managed to bounce back stronger than ever with a good sense of humor. And that's because some superheroes can fly or turn invisible, but my mom had something we affectionately refer to as cockroach power. Meaning nothing could ever bring her down. I'm pretty sure if a nuclear explosion went off, she would just be in the background making s'mores for the Girl Scouts. Because my mom, she was invincible. She had the durability of a cockroach. We knew the only thing that could take her down was herself. And while I love her cockroach power, there is one downside. While some people can be like, "Oh, I feel my grandfather's warmth every time the sun beams down on a summer day," or "Oh, I hear my grandmother's voice on the wind," or "Oh, I feel my sister's free spirit as I see a flock of birds fly by." My mom now hisses at me at the garage in 3 a.m. Which, if you ask some of my high school friends, they could basically attest she already did that. Because if you went above a decibel of a whisper past 10 p.m., even God couldn't help you. Because, some carriages turned into pumpkins past midnight. My mom turned into a dinosaur, which my father affectionately referred to as Ritasaurus Rex. And not only was my mom strong physically, but mentally as well. I can't believe I forgot the word mental. Mentally as well. You had to be my mom. And she would never consider herself traditionally book smart, but that woman had the most street and emotional intelligence of anyone I've ever known. I mean, she could see someone quiver her lip from a mile away, and she would instantly teleport with a warm tray of cookies and a warmer hug. To the point where people would often end up melting, but it was for the best. And let's not let that mushy stuff wear you down though, because as the trouble child, let me tell you, my mom could be quite the disciplinarian, which I blame for her 15 years as a preschool teacher, where she learned 2 things. 1, if a preschooler ever says you're not invited to their birthday party, you're socially dead until at least college. And 2, how to negotiate with and break terrorists. And she had the strength and willpower to do it. I'm not personally a very religious person, but I know in my heart of hearts that if my mother wanted to go to heaven, she had the determination to rip one into the fabric of reality. Although she'd probably give herself what she called cloud time. See, cloud time was this concept where if she accidentally cut someone off, or say, I don't know, laughed at an inappropriate joke at a funeral, she would say, oh, I'm getting cloud time for that, which basically meant that she would be sitting on a cloud outside of the pearly gates, watching out for airplanes and geese and what have you, and reflecting on what she did wrong. So basically, it was one big spiritual timeout, which I love seeing her preschool years work its way into theology. And as someone who's earned their fair share amount of cloud time today alone, hey, Mom, save me a seat. I could go on. I could go on about my mom, but I'd love to hear your story. So I'm just going to quickly talk about one more thing about my mom. Whenever I did or said something dumb, I always knew things would be okay if I could make my mom laugh. And I think that's ultimately why she wanted me to do this here today. To show people that it's okay to laugh. It's good to celebrate and to smile and to feel joy. And that's what she would want. I know wherever Rita Zagar is right now, she is sending all of her warmth and love to all of us, even Donna from McDonald's. Thank you very much.